All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the talk show of the Liberian People's Party, Broom Talk Show. And this is the music that brings out the talk show. At this point in this talk show, we discuss issues pertaining to political aspects in our country. We also discuss news of happenings in our country as well. Tonight, the focus point will be on the establishment of a political party, Liberian People's Party, and we'll also discuss the mayor, Councillor Tiawan's Gonglo, who wants the presidency. Tonight we have our guest, Dr. Pineapple Early and Dr. James Kwanando. Your hosts tonight are Junius D. Zoga, Thomas Soin, and Sisegoya. We'll first of all start up with our guests. We're going to stop the music and see that so that our people can hear us clearly. We'll first start up with introduction of our guests. We ask each of them to give us their name and let's say a brief introduction, and before we go into our main program. We'll start up with Dr. Pineapple K. Early. Dr. Early, you are welcome.
Oh, thank you very much, and I appreciate the time to be invited to this program. My name is Pineapple TK Early. I was born and raised in Liberia, West Africa. I grew up, went to LU, graduated from there, where I first started in Canfor Mission, then Buchanan, St. Peter Cleves High School, University of Liberia, Foreign Service Institute. Then I came to America, and I've been here since during the war in the 1990s, and I've been affiliated with LPP from Liberia from college when I was in college in LU. So I've been with LPP for a long time, and so yeah, briefly, that's about me. I'm married. My wife is in Florida. Her name is Clara. She's a nurse practitioner, and we have several children, but at least 5, and we've been married for 6 years, and so things are good. Currently, I am pastoring a United Methodist Church here in Covington, Virginia, called Granbury United Methodist Church. It has like 200 members, all Caucasian, but I'm enjoying my experience here. And I'm also teaching English at Virginia Union University. I teach English courses online. So basically, that's about me. And I've been with LPP since, like I said, in its inception. And even here in America, we have LPP USA, and I'm still here. So thank you for the time, and I appreciate the opportunity to expand on any other thing that may come forth.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis. We'll move on to Dr. Doe. Dr. Doe, can you give a brief?
Sure. And well, I'm actually excited to see my longtime friend and brother, Reverend Dr. Early, Pineapple Early.
Good to you too, Brian.
Yeah, I know it's he and I have had a long standing. I mean, this is I'm putting it on him because he's real brother and friend to me.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that we've been involved in politics together over a long period of time. Yeah. Per my own introduction, I'm Dr. James Kwanando. I currently reside in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, where I've been for many years. I'm a long-time partisan and comrade of the Liberian People's Party, which I have affiliated with since 11th grade in high school when I was at St. Patrick's High School in Monrovia. And then at that time, It was mostly the movement for justice in Africa, which we probably will touch on a little bit. And then the movement for justice in Africa launched its political party, the Liberian People's Party. I currently teach as well as work with the State Department of Education here in Georgia, just in terms of my own professional career path. I'm an educator as well. I also work as a city planner and social worker in my previous career. So I'm quite excited about this platform. This new platform is long been in the making, and I hope it will serve to educate our people about the Liberian People's Party, one of the oldest contemporary parties in Liberia. That's our sole purpose, to educate our people about our party as well as about our standard bearer. So once again, thanks you, Zoga, to you, Zizi, and to you, Swan, for this superb job putting this together. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Doe and Dr. Early. Folks, as we said earlier, we are your hosts. I'm Junius D. Zoga II and co-host Thomas T. Swan, T.S. Swan, and Sissy Goya. We're going to kick off our discussion. I don't know whether we need to give each of the hosts. I think we need to introduce ourselves. It is a setup. So we can start with Goya. I think I will be the last. Let's start with Goya. Goya, a brief interview. I mean, a brief intro of yourself, sir.
Well, I am Sisi Goya. I am a fanatic of Tiawansi Gonglo's dream and vision for Liberia. I've drank a Kool-Aid. And so I'm here to do whatever I can do to try to make sure we spread a message to the Liberian people so they understand that before they cast their vote and give people power for turning over them, that they look critically at who's going to lead them for the next 6 years. So my name is Sisi Goya, and I'm happy to be on this platform to help spread the vision and the mission of Tiawansi Gonglo and the Liberian People's Party.
So, Sister Goya, to be a little bit detailed, what do you do in America? What kind of work do you do? Who are you?
I didn't want to make this thing about me, but in my daytime job, I am a math teacher, 12 years now, chair of my math department. I teach higher level math, so algebra 2, pre-calculus, and calculus here in the Twin Cities.
All right. Thank you so much. Then, Swan.
Thank you, Comrade Genius. My name is Thomas T. Swan. I live in the greater Philadelphia area. I've been, the LPP since the early 1990s. I have a passion for following progressive ideas, so I've gravitated towards those who see the need to ensure that the needed change in the society is required. I work in support coordination for the West Philadelphia mental health area that I provide services for individual special needs, locating, coordinating, and monitoring services for them. I'm glad that I can be a part of the LPP in the USA and particularly this year to ensure that we can champion the cause and the vision of Tiawansi Gonglo, a progressive brother who is determined and who is ready to provide leadership for our country. So I'm glad to be on the show tonight and to be a part of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Swan. Okay, my name is Junius D. Zoga II, as you can see on the screen. And I'm one of the supporters of Councillor Tiawan Gonglo based on the kind of high level of probity he possessed. And that's what I follow. And we want to make sure that the Liberian people get a leader, a scrupulous leader, someone who is afraid to do wrong. That's the kind of leader we want. And we see that his character, his action, they all has a lot of coherence. And so we believe in him. And I want to add on to the rest that my colleagues have said. We are here basically to launch our platform the Liberian People's Party platform. I am not a long member of the Liberian of the Liberian People's Party, but I think my affiliation with the party, after I became member of the party, I see that the party is welcoming, and this is where we all need to be. So thank you. All right, folks, you've heard us. You've heard everybody, and we'll now go into business. I think we will ask Sissy to get the ball rolling. To start off with the first question, what we're going to do, we're going to go deeply into the Liberian People's Party. Who are they? Who are we? What do they intend to do? When were they established? What kind of background they have before you want to take power in Liberia? So we'll start with you.
To our two guests, I'm going to throw out a question and take turn answering the question rather. But my question is, we see a proliferation of political clubs, I like to call them, in Liberia, that don't stand. They don't stand on their own after they leave power or after their vision bearer disappears. The Liberian People's Party has been coming along for a long time. What is about the Liberian People's Party that sets it apart as an institution that the Liberian people ought to start looking at versus these political clubs that are in Liberia? What is about the mission, the vision, and the history of the LPP that sets you apart?
Well, I'll take a shot at that, and maybe the Reverend can follow.
Mm-hmm.
Liberian People's Party is about 38, approaching 40 years old now. I always say it's one of the oldest contemporary parties in Liberia. We have been baptized over a long period of time in the political crisis that have taken place in Liberia since the mid to late 70s. This is a party that was launched early 1982, 83, just at the time that the country was going through some turbulence. The party was launched by the Movement for Justice in Africa. I know many of you are relatively younger than Reverend Early and I, but the Movement for Justice in Africa was a consciousness-raising movement that brought awareness to Liberians regarding the socio-economic and political imbalances that existed in the country at the time. And this movement was launched by very young Liberians who had had an opportunity to come to school here in the West, mostly the United States, in the late 60s, early 70s. And many of them, after completing their studies, decided to return home. And a good number of them took up positions at the University of Liberia as professors. And namely, you all can, I'm sure, will have heard the name of Dr. Emma Sawyer, Dr. Tokbananti Pote, Dr. Fambule, Professor Dutwamla, whatever missing, etc. And for some of us, we were lucky to have studied under these individuals and learned a great deal. They were our mentors in many ways. So the party, as I said, was launched in the early 80s to really test the opening of the political space in the country. And rather unfortunately, just as it was launched, it wasn't too long, the party was banned when in fact the military junta took over Liberia. And they banned the party because of the kind of progressive orientation it had. Now, just to answer your question, really, what distinguishes this party? The party has had resilience. It's a resilient party. It's about the only party that greatly suffered at the hands of the military junta. And we've been quite resilient. It's spoken to the needs of the Liberian people, and it's demonstrated over a period of time a great deal of consistency. For those of us who've had the opportunity to work with the military junta and some succeeding administrations, they saw the work of the Liberian People's Party, even though the party was banned. So the short of the long is that we are different from other political parties because of our we've had deep historical presence in the Liberian politics. We've demonstrated consistency, and we think we have the best solutions for bringing about transformative change in Liberia. So I will pause there and show others can add.
Yeah, so Reverend, the same question. Take a quick stab at that. Why has the LPP survived, and why is the LPP different from the mushrooming political clubs that got in Liberia?
Oh, thank you. And first of all, I want to acknowledge my brother and friend Thomas Tuaswin for being on this show tonight. LPP has been a very progressive movement. It started, like Juana said earlier, as the movement for justice in Africa, and then it developed and mushroomed into what we have today as political party. And I would just jump right to 1984 when we were preparing for the Second Republic in Liberia. Uh, Amos Sawyer was the chair of that party at the time, and George Kier, was the secretary of the party. And according to Samuel K. Doe, who was the leader at the time, he had passed a decree. And in that decree, he said that if you wanted to campaign or run for elected political office in Liberia, you had to resign. And so I think only one teacher, who was called Gabriel Paulet, resigned from his teaching position. And so Sawyer and Kier, on behalf of LPP, requested that President Doe himself resign if he wanted to campaign. And that made Doe mad, excuse me, and he arrested Sawyer and Kier, and that led to the August 22nd, 1984 university riots. I jumped to that particular point because at that time it was a tense movement in Liberia. We had experiences with the Doe regime from 1980, 81, how he threatened the students, banned student political movement and everything. So by 84, people were fed up and they were ready to vote against Doe. But then LPP, like Juan said correctly, they had always banned LPP. LPP had really been a party, and by the time the election comes, I think at least in 2 elections, they have been banned because of the progressive ideas, and people couldn't stand them. Now, LPP started off with progressive ideas like unity or UPP, which was started by Bacchus Matthews. But where it fell short was Bacchus Matthews was more into, he was not grassroots, but he was kind of like aggressive and not really analyzing the situations, but just ordinarily just arrogant and aggressive. But LPP had
firebrand, like you would call it, right?
Correct. He was that kind of firebrand. But LPP was like that. But everybody didn't do it. It was like you had a political wing. Can you hear me?
Joe, please mute yourself, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Reverend.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot where I was, but anyway, LPP became much more reserved in terms of its analysis of situation, and they were not that as aggressive as the other UPP. So we didn't go that route. But anyway, so LPP has been when we came to America in the early '90s. We decided to form LPP USA with Dr. Kier, Theodore Somewhere, some other people from North Carolina. I forgot their names now. Um, I think I still have some records for LPP. I don't know whether I still have it on a disc, on a floppy disk. I still have them on the floppy disk for the LPP USA one way organizing here. So LPP has been in the vanguard. One of the things we have not done, and we have to look at, I'm just jumping the gun here, is to field candidates in the political arena, candidates to like run to be representatives, to be senators, and hold other city positions and things like that. So um, this time now, I'm going ahead. We have to start looking at those kind of directions because our party cannot just we can't just campaign for the presidency alone and leave for other things. We have to seek political power now.
So
I
let me
think.
put a quick bow tie on this and I pass it on to my other co-host. But would
Go
you
ahead.
say, I don't want to view Dr. Doe or Reverend Early, would you
Hmm.
say that the reason the LPP has lasted this long and is different from other political parties that came along and withered away is because the LPP is focused and based on a political ideology versus on a person? Because when you have these court-like parties that is focused on one person, the political leader, so to speak. When that person disappears, the party disappears. But the LPP has stayed along way too long. So do you credit that to the fact that this party is based on ideology and not on personality?
Yeah, I will definitely do that because, first of all, African politics, not just Liberia, but African politics is based around what they call the cult of the personality cult and that kind of stuff. But LPP has had ideals, and these ideas are not they're not difficult ideas. They're very simple ideas, ideas of truth, ideas of honesty, ideas of being very humble, down to earth, grassroots kind of ideas, and that's how LPP has been being able to survive. And no political party in Liberia besides True Party, which is also disbanded right now, can boast about the length of time LPP has survived because of those ideas that you talk about. I even had it on my paper here, the ideas that their ideals with EALS and IDEAS that have kept LPP together. And we have to uphold those two, those two, they may be abstract, but it can also be practical. And
Thank you.
I'm where I am now in my lifetime, and at this point in my life, I think LPP should be pushing for us to get political power because we can change Liberia, and we shouldn't be shy about it and be nervous about it at all.
All right, thank you. Back to you,
Yeah.
my brother, Mr. Zoga.
All right, folks. This is the Broom Show. We talked issues of paramount importance to our country, political issues, and we discuss and promote our candidate, Councilor Tawan Say Gonglo. Before we go further, Joe, you just left. You just joining up. We'd like to you briefly within 2 minutes introduce yourself, and then we can go back to our questions because you just coming. We have been waiting for you. Hold on one moment. I'm going to unmute you because there was noise from your back and I muted you. So now you can go ahead.
Yeah, the noise is too much. Hello? The noise. The noise is too much.
So when I mute you, I can get you. Okay, so
Joe,
folks,
log out and come back in. I think you're watching the show on Facebook also.
yes, I think that's what he's doing. So
Yeah.
if you're on Facebook, okay, all right, folks. So here we have now gotten a little bit of what we're here for. We move to Comrade Swain. Comrade Swain, it is your time to pose questions to our our guests. And at this time, we're going to kick off straight away with our stand-up bearer. And I know your question during the discussion will bring in more or less issues pertaining to the progress and what the political party LPP has been. So let's start from you. You have any questions for them? You can fire.
Thank you, Comrade Zioga, and thanks to Dr. Doe and Dr. Early for giving us, a brief information about the founding of the LPP. We all agree that it has a grassroots ideology, a philosophy that we embrace so dearly. My question is, to what extent has the LPP been able to sell its ideology, its philosophy, its agenda to Liberian people throughout the length and breadth of the country over the last 3 decades? How has the LPP been able to do that?
Well, as I stated earlier, the party has demonstrated resilience, given the difficult history it came through. Mind you, since 1980, mid 1984, when the party was banned, the party actually went into the wilderness. There was not much activity by way of building party structures, promoting the party throughout the country. Notwithstanding, as Dr. Early said, those of us who were fortunate to escape the rough politics in Liberia at the time under the military junta and travel abroad made it our business to continue organizing wherever we were, whether in the West, whether in parts of Africa. We maintain that spirit of the party. It was only perhaps in the late 90s, early 2000, when the country was gradually making a transition to post-war politics, that the idea to revive the party came back into being, because some of our people who went into exile returned home. Those who stayed in Liberia and went underground decided to come back into the fold and began organizing. So, in many ways, I think I work with our the movement for justice in Africa, which gave birth to LPP. For that work had basically penetrated throughout Liberia, and people remembered the good work that Moja and then its economic arm Susuku did in parts of Grangide, parts of Lofa, all throughout the country. So people remember that. They remember that. So that has helped the party in terms of making sure that the grassroots ideology it's promoted over this period it has been revived now to the extent that the party has participated in electoral politics for at least the last 2 election cycles, even though we didn't do well with that. But the party is still rebuilding, carrying out that grassroots message through its current standard bearer and other foot soldiers who are placed throughout the country. So I would say for the most recent decade, the party is really regaining its place. It's regaining its place in Liberian politics, and I think it will only be the matter of time that LPP will become a robust political party in that country, because and since they highlighted that one of the major things that distinguish us, and Reverend Early also talked about that, is our grassroots work. The grassroots work we do. We truly have a political institution because even our early leaders who came before us, they're nowhere around, but the party has continued. It goes from one generation to the other because that's how the party was built, around students, around the youth. So when one generation leaves, the next generation takes up the banner to carry it. So that work continues with LPP.
Yeah, I want to go on further, continue with what Mana is saying. To what extent have LPP been influential in terms of our political presence in Liberia, if we may call it that? Our presence in Liberia has been at least 41 years. If you look at from 1982 as a year, like Mana said, as a year of organization, then 41 years is a long year for consistency in our political movement. The LPP is not just a party, it's also a movement because it was embedded with the Young Christian Student Movement, which is the YCS. We started in the Catholic schools, but then it also extended to other schools. But the YCS, which was, not Pane, um, Tiamon himself was national president of the Young Christian Student Movement of Liberia, and he was very exemplary in his leadership. And earlier, some people were saying why they were supporting him. And personally, I have had relations with Mane. I mean, I keep calling you Mane. That might be a God, God telling you to do something. But but Tiawan has been in the vanguard with Soup, with at the university. When he graduated from LU, he went to law school and studied law, and he's been this. So he has had that extent, that relationship with LPP. LPP has also been an organization with grassroots, but like Brandon said correctly, if we decide we need or we this is our time for us to seek political power in Liberia, it would be no problem that we cannot accomplish. It would be the easiest thing. We need money, yes, I understand, but we can raise the money. We can do whatever we want to do. In those 41 years, we should to me, this is just Panapun early speaking, as a LPP man and as a vanguard person, that it is time for us to take leadership and demonstrate to Liberia the change that we always dream of. We can do that. And I think this is the time for us to do it. So we have the opportunity and we just have to grasp it and make use of it.
All right, Dr. Early, thank you so much. Now we'll go to Mr. Joe Moneybird. So within 2 minutes, just give a quick intro of yourself, and then we'll continue with our questions.
My name is Joe Moneybird, and I'm a supporter of Tiawan Gonglo. I live in Minnesota, and I'm the executive director for Tiawan Gonglo, Minnesota. That's all.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Yeah. Before we
Joe,
go forward, yeah, you said.
can I have your number? I'm coming to Minnesota in July. I gotta so I can
Oh,
see
okay,
you.
okay, we'll do that. We'll do that later on. All right. So, Thomas,
Okay.
any more questions? Do you have any more questions for them?
No, let's move on.
Okay. All right, folks. This is the Broom Show, and we are discussing our Liberian politics. We have just discussed the establishment and the challenges the Liberian People's Party faced in past years. The Liberian People's Party has lived for the past 41 years, up to include today's date. And that is a long year of experience. So now we'll move on to knowing about the standard bearer of this political party, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo. My question to the panelists, to any of you is, how do you think your standard bearer, our standard bearer, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, will possibly win this election when, one, people call him poor man lawyer and he does not have enough funding. On the other hand, we have the incumbent who is using the natural resources, the finances of the country. We also have the former vice president who, without no doubt, he should still have some money because he was in a government I would know about. And then we have Cummings, who is noted to be a big businessman, quote unquote, a Firestone Coca-Cola factory manager and have millions of dollars and throwing it out there. How, between this and looking at the landscape, looking at the political landscape of our country now, people move to where the money is. The young people don't have time. They don't want to know what they're going to benefit from tomorrow. How can your standard bearer win this election when people call him poor man money, poor man lawyer, and he does not have money? What surety do you have? It's up to you.
Well,
any of you?
Yeah, I think your question has several parts to it. What is our standard bearer about? Our standard bearer, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo. How do we see him getting through the new politics in Liberia that has been monetized, commercialized, going up against an incumbent that has basically converted the state resources to their personal use? Now, the way I will answer that is, one, our standard bearer has an enviable track record that I think everyone by now is quite familiar with. From his days of involvement in student activism to his current status as a professional lawyer in Liberia, and his work in Liberian politics and civic society. All that has made our standard bearer to have a track record that not only rival, but I think out-rival some of those who are vying for the presidency in Liberia. Many people know of his record when he served in various capacities in the Liberian government. First as Solicitor General, where he basically transformed the prosecution machinery of the government. He often says that when he became Solicitor General of Liberia, one of his first responsibilities was to ensure that all of the counties had county attorneys that were professionally trained. And that was one of his first major initiatives. Also, too, it should be mentioned that, and I think many people don't know, at the Ministry of Justice, beneath that Ministry of Justice, I recall when I was just students that we used to hear about those things, that they had a jailhouse underneath the Ministry of Justice where, during the era of Talbert as well as Doe, they would just grab people, journalists, civil society activists, progressives, and throw them in jail. So if you're lucky, you go underneath the jailhouse there at the Ministry of Justice, or they sent you to South Beach Prison. Or if worse comes to worse, they sent you to Belayala, where many of our people went. Some of our people, got killed and all that kind of thing. So wherever he has gone and served in a public capacity, Councillor Gonglo has demonstrated that he's a transformative leader. Even when he was appointed as Minister of Labor at the Ministry of Labor, he made it his one of his priorities to ensure that jobs that Liberians could do actually, were given to Liberians versus being given to foreigners or aliens in the country, Lebanese, Indians, and other nationals. In fact, one of the things he initiated was to increase the worker permit fee, and made it and instituted a regulation where he prioritized that all of the commercial businesses in Liberia had to hire Liberians, positions like cashier, store managers, and those kinds of things. So again, that was another transformative act he initiated. Not to mention when he became president of the Liberian Bar Association as one of the prominent civic leaders in the country, he also demonstrated transformative leadership there. So, just on the councillor's record, his record as a public servant, his record as a civic advocate, was all in the area of transformation of the Liberian society. Now, it's a fact we don't have money. He's entered this race. It took him a long time after being asked on many occasions by friends, by members of the LPP and what have you to run. We've come into this not having money versus those who have. I won't even call names, but we know there is a millionaire in the race. And of course, as we've already said, we have an incumbent that has personalized the state machinery and made it a party machinery. So these are the forces we're going up against. But
Oh,
given the record of our candidate of Tiawanse Gonglo, given his record, given the work, just imagine the short space of time that he's entered this race. The
so
man
Dr.
has been,
Dr. Do,
yeah,
what I'm hearing from you is that
yeah,
cash versus character, one must win.
yes,
Which one wins?
character will prevail in this race,
All
and
right.
I think Tiawanse Gonglo has it.
And then our people normally say, the character is better than what money, silver, and gold.
Yeah,
Liberia
uh,
was founded on Christian basis, and we say that uh, the character is better than silver and gold. Dr. Ellie, what is your take on this before we go to before we go to Joe Moneyberg? What is your take on your standard bearer? What
Well,
makes you so sure that he
yeah.
is the man to win these elections overwhelmingly?
Well, I'm a Liberian, and I don't know about you, but Liberians are people of hope. Our country, our history is embedded in hope. So I'm hopeful that we can win. That Gonglo can win. I have known Gonglo for a long time, like I said, personally and professionally, and in school as schoolmates and everything. And he has always had good character. Now, with all money, can anyone or can he be elected in Liberia? I would say yes. And the reason I'm saying yes is what you just said before I came on is that integrity is more than money. And Gonglo and LPP is not just Gonglo, but Gonglo, yes, he's our standard bearer and he bears our standard. But LPP as a political party also has had a good good record too. So integrity plays key part, and we have a candidate who has the integrity, who has the honesty, and who has the charisma to become a leader. You see, people are saying right now they're taking him because he doesn't have money, and they say he's poor, he's short. They have all the descriptions, right? But most great leaders in the world, including Julius Caesar and all of these people we read about in history, were not they did not look like a leader until they became leader. When leaders get in position, people who are in power, they assume the position. The position defines them. So even Obama, no, he didn't look like president, but when he became president, you could see that he was the president of the United States. So all of that, I don't listen to those things. But I think Gonglo can win. I think we can win. And connection, connection matters. Connection matters. Contacts. Just listen to me keenly. I'm just saying sentences here. I'm not explaining nothing. Connection matters. Contacts are possible. Keeping the winning strategy off the air is the best policy. If I can say it that way, if you get what I'm saying. Integrity is more than money. We can win with that. Connection matters. Contacts are possible, but keeping our strategic or our strategies for exactly how we can win this thing, we don't need to talk about it here right now.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Early. We have gone pretty close to 47 minutes, and we have a little bit of short times because we're going to be going for the 1 hour and 20 minutes. So now we'll move on to Comrade Joe Moneybird. You are from Minnesota and a chairman of the Friends of Gonglo, Minnesota.
No, Tim Gonglo.
And we've been hearing around here, Team Gonglo, Minnesota. We've been hearing around here that this Team Gonglo that you hear, these are people, these are one of the strong financiers of the Gonglo's campaign. Can you tell a little bit about your finance? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about what you do in your state to help the councilor to succeed in this election in 5 minutes?
Thank you for having me. And first of all, I would like to address what my brother have been saying. You know, I call this a good news. You know, the good news is everybody in Liberia do not have extinction on Councilor Broom. No steam. The only thing they say is he doesn't have money, you know, but he's a good man. That is a very good opportunity for the entire country. Mm-hmm. Somebody who is free of corruption, integrity, he got integrity, and he got everything that we need. You know, all the qualifications to become president, he has it. But he doesn't have money. That's what they say. The reason he doesn't have money is because he did not steal. Mm-hmm. Had he been like other politicians, he would have had money. Because he worked in places where he could put his hands in the cookie jar to have money like other people. But he refused to do that. That's why he does not have money. So that is a good news.
So do you think he's able to practice this when he gets to the executive mansion tomorrow? Yeah. Is that a good news?
Charity begins at home. When he started it, you know, he will continue.
There you go.
Charity begins at home. There's something that he already used to. Correct. You know, I know him very well. And then this is the reason why, you know, like, let me speak about Minnesota, you know, and people, because of his behavior, because of the character, people take money from their pockets, money that people sweat for the work for, clean money. Mm-hmm. You know, they take their own money that they work for on the snow and the hot sun and everything, like double, and give it, you know, with the intention of, you know, helping him with the campaign. Yeah, that is honest money. That's the kind of money we're looking for. That's the kind of man he is. So we trying to get honest money for him to help in the campaign. Now in Minnesota, the ask about Minnesota. Minnesota has been one of the hands, you know, that been helping Councilor Gonglo, you know, since this entire process started. We've been sending money. We've been doing a lot of things, you know, for the process, and then we'll continue to do that until the end, you know, until the end. And then right now, because of the present issue that is unfolding that has to do with the election, we're having a fundraising for him again this June 24th of this month. To buttress the, the how do you call it, the campaign. So the fact that people say he doesn't have money, we're trying to do a fundraising to see whether we can raise something to help him with the campaign. So on the 24th of June, there will be a very big fundraising in Minnesota, where we're inviting all, everyone, whether you from Gonglo camp or not. Once you love Liberia, you'll be coming to the fundraising. So we have our flyers out. Check out for the flyers. They're all on Facebook, and then we'll have our cash app. And we have this time around, we are not going to use the hall. We used to use the hall all our fundraising. So because we anticipate having a lot of people, so we're using somebody's backyard. We have a very, very big space that can host close to 100 persons. Okay. So that has been engaged. So at the backyard will be our ladies also got the chairs already, canopies, and there will be lighting only all night, and then there will be food and drinks, and then the business people have been contacted already around the African stores. We spoke to them already, and then they will come there. They decide to come to the broadcast of the occasion to see how much they can. The thing is like it's going to be like you help me, I help you. So in the business world in Minnesota, Liberians have been buying from these people in Minnesota, the business people, especially from the African stores. So we went to them and told them, look, this is the time now that we all do battle. So when you come to the program, we'll give you a mic, to you use the opportunity with the microphone to advertise your business. If you have an African store, the extension, because most of them got extension this year, they added few things that have not been known. So we have the opportunity.
So in other words, the process of your fundraising to get a better Liberia is on the 24th of June 2023 in Minnesota. And then you are asking all the supporters of Tiawan Gonglo from all other states to be able to buy the t-shirts. We have the time. The next time we come on the show, we'll make sure that we bring those t-shirts. I know we're going to appear more than 2-3 times before we have another, before we have the fundraiser.
Well, especially the one. Let me spread more information, especially those that in the LPP. Once you're in America, you don't have to be in Minnesota because the fundraiser is the LPP and Minnesota doing it here. It's because LPP has never joined Team Gonglo before they ever do anything. This is
unfortunately,
when you come back next time,
fortunately, you are members of the Liberian People's Party.
Definitely.
Now we're going to move on to any of our co-hosts. This is not an open discussion. We're talking about Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, the standard bearer of the Liberian People's Party before high level of probity. That is, this is the man who has integrity, and then it versus catch. Those are given a catch. Now, if you watch the videos, there are a few videos that I watched over Facebook, and I saw people who were in the marketplaces and they say, "Go, we don't want your money, roll." Now, so there is something that I try to figure up in there. The character of Councillor Tiawan Gonglo that every one of us discuss here, this is the guy who is scrupulous. This is the man who is afraid of doing the wrong thing. He is the leader who always does the right thing. All right. So we have the right leader. Whether or not he has the physical cash to give people, and there is one thing I like about him. When he gets out there, he tells the people, look, I have not come here to promise you a warehouse. I have not come here to promise you building your roads. But this is what I'm going to do for you, health-wise, educational-wise. Sister Goya, what is your take on the Liberian people saying about money?
So I've been loud about this, and I will try to be as loud as I can be. People keep asking the question, what is Tiawan's pathway to the presidency? Because what the Liberian people have realized is that a few people have managed to suck up the oxygen on the traditional pathway to the presidency. And what Tier 1 has done in politics is mimic what he's done in his personal life when he was the poor man's lawyer. My auntie told me that he actually defended her when her rights were being trampled upon her as a market woman, when he knew that she could not pay his fees. She came to one of our events and pledged $1,500 and said, I'm paying you back in the future for what I could not pay you back then. And when I talk about Tier 1 is mimicking what he did in his personal life, is he is expanding the electorates. Those people who he feels that their constitutional right to choose to have access to quality leaders have been trampled along so long by this trivial politics. He's going to those villages, he's going to those hamlets, he's going places where people have said they have never seen a presidential candidate before. He is going into these villages where people usually send surrogates. And so Tier 1 Gonglo is changing the map of Liberia elections. He's bringing in those people who have been disillusioned, those people who have been forgotten by the powers that be, those people who have never had access to the ballot. Beyond that, he's explaining to them the power of their votes. The councillor goes around saying that we are not here to campaign against other people. To campaign against other people is to agree that you don't have anything to run on. He is campaigning for himself and telling the Liberian people what is the power of their vote. I listened to him one time when he said, when you cast your vote, it's like you are giving the power of attorney to somebody to determine over your life and your children's life and your grandchildren's life for the next 6 years. In the case of a president, because the president is not going to come to you when they want to sign other dues and other stuff. You've already given them the authority. So he's been telling the Liberian people to be very careful about how they cast that. I think only a true leader, only a down-to-earth leader, only a people-centered leader can do stuff like that. Go to those people who don't even speak English, who have not felt that they have a share in the national pie, and tell them this is your time to claim your rightful seat. This is the time to select somebody who's going to divide the national pie. That Monrovia is not Liberia. That if you're in Bokonjile or you're in Zolowo town, you have right and access to the national pie. And so for me, when people keep talking about Tier 1 Gonglo is poor and he's broke, I say, take me as an example. I have never given money one day to Liberian politics. Tier 1 Gonglo is the first man I've done that too. I have never taken my time to sit on the platform to propagate for any Liberian politician. Tier 1 Gonglo is the first person I'm doing it for, because this is a grassroots people-centered campaign. And so for those people that say the councillor doesn't have money, but they believe in his ideologies, we say, come along. If you got 2 cents, bring the widow's mite. If you don't have 2 cents, come along. Talk to other people about the councillor, because Councillor Tier 1 Gonglo is telling you the old mat I sat out on before when I resigned from government, when I felt like my policy was not, and my ideology and my conscience would not serve me right to continue serving government, and I left where other people would not. That is the mat of consciousness that he sat on, that he wants to plot this new mat and is asking you to give him the presidency. And then just one last thing before I leave. You know, people talk about education in Liberia a lot. Education is important. Tier 1 Gonglo is the one man that have come to say that, look, Article 6 of the Liberian Constitution guarantee you access to free, quality, and equitable education. He's going to ensure that he carries out that one part of the Liberian Constitution that's been so much aggrieved and so much disrespected by governments. And so I tell people who are listening, the LPP could have picked a squirrel for their logo, and the squirrel would have died. They would have picked a rooster, and the rooster would have died. They pick a broom. There's a reason for that. You know, and I see people sweep with broom in Liberia. Before me talking about real broom, where they sweep, some of the straws come out, right? Those are some of the people from the LPP that have died and gone away. Those people who stood in the vanguard, they left. But the broom, because of the solidarity and because of the focus of the ideas, you can still wrap up the leftover straws and you can still sweep. And the broom will cut. And I see some broom shot, it can still sweep. The broom continues to sweep. So for those people who continue to think that Tier 1 Gonglo does not have a pathway to the presidency, we say, come on board. If you believe in the ideologies and you believe in the Liberian People's Party and you see the map that Tier 1 Gonglo has plotted before, that you want to sit on that old map to plot a new map, we say, come along. because gone are the days where we allow the traditional politics of just air and anger and vitriol to take over Liberian politics. Councillor Kewon Gonglo is the one man in politics right now in Liberia. I can tell you that he's advocated for the likes of Moloba Malu. He's advocated for people in politics. He has freed people whose rights were trampled upon, even though they didn't belong to his political party. And so when you ask the question, why Kewon Gonglo, I say, why not? Why not? If not, now when?
Thank you so much, Sister Goya. The number to call, ladies and gentlemen, we have opened up the number for calling. The number to call is 267-255-2386 or 215-571-5238. You can see that on the screen. You can give in your call, and whatever questions you have, we are ready to answer your question. We go to Comrade Swain.
Well, thank you, Comrade Zoga, and Sister said it beautifully. Tiawan, has an impeccable record of public service. It's not something debatable, really. When you count the progressives, people who ascribe to that ideology of being around for a long time, Gonglo is one person who everyone gravitates towards because of the way he's carrying himself over the years, and it is important for us to note that when he was on the nationwide campaign, going out and reaching out to the villages and towns, I remember I got a call from Sino, having been a former national leader for the Sino people in the Americas. I got a call and someone was talking about, said, what's this Gongolo guy? He had gone there, engaged the folks, and he was telling them about what he would do for the country when he becomes president. And they were impressed. The guy called and was impressed to hear Gonglo speak, to hear Gonglo talk, and engage them and talking about what he would do when he becomes president. And the beautiful thing about the campaign at the time the guy said that was that Gonglo doesn't go about throwing jabs at even those who are in the opposition bloc. He talks about what he wants to do. He talks about how he will redeem the country without mentioning the record comments against the other candidates. And the guy called and said he finds it so beautiful and so welcoming. And he was saying Gonglo seems to be the guy who he can gravitate towards. And like the sister said, we've come a long way. It's time that we would ensure that someone gets to the leadership of the country to place it on the map, to place it where it belongs among the Committee of Nations. And Gonglo is that person. And it's important for us to remind the Liberian people that we have found someone in the Liberian People's Party who has the message of redemption, who has the message of ensuring that they enjoy the country that they love so dearly. And so we bring them Gonglo, we bring them Tiawan Gonglo. We agree, the politics in Liberia has been monetized. We agree that people have, amassed wealth for themselves. But we bring a man of honesty, a man of character, a man who stands tall, even among his fellow progressives, and so it's the message we have in Liberian people. Look, Gonglo is the man who can provide that kind of semblance that we need, that kind of redemption we need in a country like Liberia.
All right. So at this time, we're going to give 4 minutes to each of us here because we're running out of time. If you can see from up there where we say live, we have to go up to 1 hour and 20 minutes. So what we have to do in 4 minutes right now is corruption is one of the major damaging factor in our economy. Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, with his character, he served as he served in many ministerial positions, 2 ministerial positions, and there is no fault. No one got anything against him. Now, but when he ascended to the presidency, Comrade, we start with Comrade Doe. how does the Liberian People Party will, if not eliminating corruption, but how will the Liberian People Party remove corruption from the system of government to have some? How does your standard bearer wants to remove corruption from the system of government? How will he do that?
Can you want me to?
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Junius. In fact, I'd like to begin by saying that
You got 4 minutes.
my standard bearer is indeed the anti-corruption candidate in this race. Not only has he spoken about the corruption in government, but he's demonstrated what he will do, like you rightly put it, when he takes over as president of that country. In all the capacities he's worked, he's demonstrated that he's the guy who can fight corruption. He is the anti-corruption candidate. In fact, Tiawanse Gonglo has even gone to the extent of outlining how he's going to go about fighting this cancer that has eaten the socio-economic fabric of our country. As a result of which, we've not had good schools, we've not had good clinics, we've not had good hospitals, we've not had good roads, and so forth and so on. One of the first things Councillor Gonglo has indicated he will do when he assumes state authority as president, the very first thing, one of the first things he will do, he will put in place a commission that will review all of the audits that have been done in the past and have been done in the present that languish on the shelves in government offices, and nothing has been done to ensure that those audits are implemented. So that would be one of the first things. Put in place a commission that will study those audit reports. Any recommendations emerging from those audit reports that satisfy legal requirements, he will take steps to ensure that those who have robbed the Liberian people of their wealth, of their resources, he will ensure that those monies that have been squandered will either be restituted or people will bear the full force of the law. That's one of the first things he will do. In fact, he has a 12-point prescription for addressing corruption. And I will just highlight 2 or 3 more. The second thing Gonglo plans to do, and he frequently says it when he's engaging our people in various communities, is that, look, I will ensure that anyone who are hired in my government and given cabinet level posts, managing director posts, and so forth and so on, all those who I have hired, not only will they declare their assets, but he will ensure that those assets or whatever they have will be put in the public space, in the newspapers, on government websites, online, so Liberian people can see with their own eyes that, well, look, Minister A for Public Works assumed this position having only one house. He had only one house, and at the end of his tenure, he has 3 or 4 houses. So he has to explain that. And in conjunction with that, he plans to put in place what he calls audits, lifestyle audits. It's going on in some countries in Africa. Lifestyle audits. You know, people come in government, and I will come to my Liberian colloquial now. People come in government with 0. We frequently hear the story of some people who are in government right now. They came into government with just 1 room. They were living in 1 room.
Got 40 seconds.
They have mansions. They ride the best of cars. They travel all the time.
just in the space of 3, 4, 5, 9, 6 years. Where did they get money from? You came in the government with just one house or one room. You couldn't even pay your rent. You were going around begging people to help you pay for your room. But now you just multimillionaire. You own farms. You
One
own
night.
this. You own that. So every 3 months, every quarter, Gonglo says, under his leadership, he will institute lifestyle audits. He will send professional auditors from GSC. Y'all go check this minister. How come we saying that this guy he came to offer with nothing? Now he owned 2, 3 mansions.
Thank you, Dr.
So
Doe.
those are the kind of little things, important things Gonglo intend to do to fight corruption.
Thank you. Dr. Early,
Yeah.
what's your take on that? How do you think your counselor going to fight corruption?
Well, to be honest, I must be honest. I have no idea how he's going to do it. But here's the thing I have to say. I think giving Gonglo's record, giving his integrity, giving who he is as a person, that is not even an issue about corruption and things, because I know he's going to bring people who are competent, who have integrity, who have
But then
the
you have the
record.
idea that he's going to make it. You have the idea of how he's going to implement that.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
going to bring those people
Yes,
on
exactly.
board, and those people are going to, because to be honest, I know everybody in Liberia will depend on the president, but the president alone can't do everything. He has to have people in strategic positions to change our system, because our corruption is so endemic in our system. Even if the president talks about it, the president can keep the mansion clean and other places, but if you got other corrupt officials down the line, it will still be the same thing. So I'm sure he's going to hire competent people who can do that. But here is my thing about our forum tonight, right now, that concerns me. It's not a criticism, but it's something I want us to approach. Let's talk about Gonglo, but let's talk about Gonglo as a winner.
Okay. So
Not can he
we'll
win.
come to that. I'm coming.
Yeah.
We're going to come to
Not
that.
can he win.
This is
How can we make him win?
Yeah, I'm coming. This is our candidate.
Good.
So I need to find out from you how he's going to fix the corruption. And now you have just told me how he's going to do that. That's
Correct.
fine. We're going to move to George Bonnie Bird. Joe, how do you think your standard bearer going to fix corruption?
Yeah. First of all, Councilor Gonglo,
you got 4 minutes.
Among all the aspirants, all the presidential aspirants, he's the only one that have things jotted down that he has to do. Whenever he says he's going to do something, he will tell you how it's going to be done.
Correct.
So governance, the entire process of Gonglo's administration, he'll be governed by 10 counts plans. 10 counts plans covers the entire country. All aspects of the country is absorbed into the 10 plan counts. So now the corruption, the one that has to do corruption is the first one. For us to know that he's a man who whenever he says something, he does it. I would first of all read the first one that has to do with corruption, how he going to minimize corruption in Liberia. Now, that is to say, and 10 counts is the first one. Number one, there will be zero tolerance of corruption under Gonglo's government. Within the first 100 days, within the first 100 days, a total review of audit reports done. There'll be an total review of audit reports done by GAC, and will be carried out. Okay, that will be carried out by GAC. That review will determine prosecution and make recommendation on those that may be statutory bar. The administration will commission routine audits, including lifestyle audit of all public servants. This is how you're going to do it.
Okay.
This is how he's going to do it under the Gonglo's government. And also, that is to say, my brother who spoke earlier, he summarized it.
Yes.
He summarized what I said.
I was just about to say that. All right.
Yeah, he summarized that, and this is the full version of what he summarized. And then one of the most important things, he's going to make people afraid to work with government, in the sense that, And if you get something out of your income, you're going to justify how you got it. So if you cannot justify that, you'll be prosecuted. So if people being prosecuted for corruption, other people will be afraid of getting government. And also, he wants to be the first project manager that will make people be afraid of getting government because of corruption. If you know you got an intention to corrupt, so when he give you an appointment, you will definitely say, look, I'm sorry, I can't take that job. Because you're not used to being clean. That's the kind of government that is coming. It's not going to be easy. People have to learn how to work within the income. And then I would like to use my time to tell Liberians that are listening to me, who's talking about money. What I realize, when I sit here and watch social media and see people moving in Liberia, because of the way the present government made the country so hard, so the people do not have direction. They just dangling. So wherever somebody has money, they follow them. But what I want to say, I don't blame them for doing that. I don't blame them for doing it because the country is hard. But the money they're using, because the voters are employers. They are the one that employ the presidential candidate. And when they employ you, they have the right to fire you. So they don't owe you thank you if you don't do a good job. But the voters in Liberia, they always feel that they owe George Weah thank you. You don't owe him thank you because you hire him to work. And you hire him to work to do a specific job, to change your condition. If that condition is not being changed, and then people are not people are not getting paid on time, he doesn't deserve thank you. So the money that they're giving them, this is an opportunity for Liberians to eat that money. This is your own money they stole from you. So make up your mind. Councillor Gonglo is the best man that can lead our country. Don't vote because of money. The money they're bringing to you, eat the money when you go to the ballot box. You vote your heart and your conscience. The money is stolen money. It's your money. They bring it back to you. So this time around,
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Moneybird. So at this time, folks, we're about to end this show, and we will go back. We'll start with Dr. Early. Give your last word. We got 1 minute each, and that will go up to like 6 minutes. Give us 1 minute of your last word. What do you want for the Liberian people to do? What is your last word?
Well, I will encourage Liberian people to choose the president for the next 6 years very wisely. They should look at someone who has integrity. We've always complained about corruption. This is a presidential candidate in Gonglo who is not a corrupt man, who will see to it that Liberia changes, and he has the people to support him in that direction. And I think the Liberian people in Liberia and abroad have to see that and cast the ballot the right way. And I think those of us who are here who know Gonglo should continue to promote that integrity, because Liberia needs a very positive change at this time, and we don't need any anyway. But yeah, so that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
Dr. Doe.
Yes.
Last word. 1 minute.
Last word is that Liberians, our people need to open their eyes. Gonglo and the Liberian People's Party represents the alternative to the current regime. There's no way this current regime and past regimes over the last 17 years has done nothing to improve the material conditions of our people in the area of education, in the area of health, in the area of road access and development, in the area of food security. They have done nothing for the last 17 years. And this is the time for real change. This is the time for transformative change. This is why Councillor Gonglo is traveling the length and breadth of that country, engaging our people, trying to bring new voters, the forgotten voters. As Sissy said earlier, there are a lot of people who have not participated in Liberian elections, many, millions. He's bringing those people back into the electorate so they can use their vote, the power they have, to change to change their conditions. I think it's my senator here in Georgia, Reverend Raphael Warnock. I've written down this quotation from him, even though I've not stuck it into my mind, but I can paraphrase it. He says, your vote is your prayer. You know, like people, they are Christians. They like their God business. Your vote is your prayer. Your prayer. You know, we pray a lot. So use your vote as your prayer to change your conditions. Gonglo is the guy. Give him that opportunity so we can bring about the kind of change that we want in our country. Thank you, Zoga, and thanks to Swain and Sissy for really putting this in place. And thanks to my fellow panelists, Mullenberg and Reverend Early. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank
that
you,
was
Kwame,
this is a
especially for
comment on
that.
that. So we're gonna move
thing.
to Swan, and that's the first comment on that. Swan, your last word while we are reading the comments.
Well, my last word would be that to thank the panelists for being part of the process, but also to let the Liberian people know that we bring to them a man on whose record is clean, you know, in the country of Liberia that has seen so much, that has gone through so much. You need a kind of transformative leader, you know, who will provide the kind of change that's required for Liberia. And so we present them Gonglo. That's our call to the Liberian
And
people.
that was the comment from. Okay. Sorry, sir. You done?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we move to our Minnesota guy, the money man. Yes, sir. Your last word.
Oh, well, I would just like to urge our audience, specifically, we speaking to our audience, the voters. Yes. The voters are the people that will put, Councilor Gonglo where he deserves to be. So, voters, if you are listening to me, and Councilor Gonglo being an aspirant, this is an opportunity for all Liberians. Let's consider it as an opportunity. Let's consider it as a gift. Let's not look at money. Politicians come and fool us with money. And they will only come last minute of the time and give you back arrest and give you money just to fool you. Could you imagine somebody just coming to you now and giving you money, then after 6 years, they forget about you? Let's try to change this time around. I'm not saying if you're not hungry, don't take the money. Take the money because this is a stolen money. That's not a crime. It's the money they stole from you, they bring it back from you. If they give it to you, take it and eat it. But when you go to the ballot box, vote your conscience. Vote for transformation. Put in the right person so your condition will change. We want to change that condition. Could you imagine 6 years ago, they gave you money and they gave you T-shirt and you stayed to where you are? You still remain to the same position. So they're coming back again to give you T-shirt and money and you will still be to the same position for 12 years. 6 years ago, you were minus 6 years old and they gave you money. And now you became plus 6 years old. So you won't be another 6 years old again to be 12 at the same spot and give you small money? No. I don't think this time around it should happen. Let's try to do the right thing. Take the money, go to the ballot box, and vote in Councilor Gonglo. Don't mind this money issue. It's going to fool you.
No.
That's what I have to say to the voters.
That's good.
Thank you, folks. We've seen most of the comments here, and especially the one for Franklin V. He said, please announce how often you'll be in here so we can follow you guys closely. I think it was very good. We have another more comment here from, let me see who has this comment. This comment is from Kalapo Gonglo. He said, thank you for the show. And let's see. And there's another comment. There's a lot of them here. Did we read the first one? I think we read the first one. It's from Kawi here too. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, and folks all in radio lands, in online land, we are about to close our show, and we're going to come up with with the date. This is the first launching, and I hope we're going to be here again on Thursday. And then from Thursday, we're going to announce fully in full blast when we're going to be here every time of the week. But hopefully by Thursday, today is Tuesday, 2 days from now, we're going to be back here on the show. We'll come with different guests at this time, and we'll announce in a full bloom when we're going to be here. Maybe we're going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Sunday. We got all of our co-hosts here. I see Mr. Swin is right in the background. He waiting at any time, the time appropriate for him. And then I see the strong man Goya is over there also waiting. So I want to thank you all for coming. Gentlemen, we'll see you guys the next time, and hope you come back when we call you. Thank you so much for appearing.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the music that brings you up to the show, and we are about to end. We've already ended our show, and we'll be here again on Thursday, God's willing. We thank you all for joining us, and those of you who were not able to share the show, we ask you to continue to share over the week as we review our plan. Thank you so much. My name is Julius D. Zoga II, the host of the Broom Show. Thank you, and see you on Thursday. We are not millionaire, but we can make it happen. We are not millionaire, but we can make corruption to be eliminated from our country. See you all.